It's time to haul some books. Hey guys, welcome back. It is time for another book haul because I bought too many books. Oh yeah, we have a problem. I know I am currently trying to do my reader toss vlogs because there are books in my floor. However, I do have some caveats with this current book haul that I don't usually have. And you'll see as we proceed throughout the book haul, and I'll get one knocked out of the way real quick. So as you guys know, I have a problem with like buying David Dalglish books and then not reading them. However, The Bladed Faith. I had an ARC copy of this, but I wanted an actual physical copy, not the uncorrected proof. And so I wanted to go ahead and buy it. And I have the Ark of the Sapphire Altar, which I have yet to read. But I only bought the one I had read and the other one that I have on audio. I didn't buy the third one, so you guys should be proud of me. But I have now purchased both of these books, and I'm hoping to get to this one really soon. But I really enjoyed this one. So I have bought more David Dalglish books that I haven't read, but it's one book, and I plan to read it soon. So there's that. If you don't know, The Bladed Faith is about this guy who watches his family get destroyed. And he goes off, runs away, but ends up training to be an assassin to take down the king. Okay, here is my big problem. Right now, the story of Kagan the Damned and The Bladed Faith is like converging in my brain. So let's see. A usurped prince will take up the mantle of a deadly assassin to reclaim his kingdom, his people, and his slain gods. Cyrus was 14 when his country was invaded, his gods slain, and his parents, the king and queen, beheaded in front of him. After years and held prisoner in the invaders' court, a mysterious group of revolutionaries breaks him free and gives him the chance for revenge that he's always dreamed of. In exchange, he will become the figurehead of their rebellion. He will become a hero to unite the people and strike fear in the hearts of the Imperials. He will take up the skull mask and twin swords and become the legendary Vagrant, an unparalleled assassin of otherworldly skill. So yeah, I'm currently reading Son of the Poison Rose, and so the story of Kagan is in my brain, and they are very, very similar. Very different writing styles, very different worlds, but the gist of it is the same. When you read fantasy, sometimes we have overlapping stories. Anyway, this is the second book to The Bladed Faith. Okay, and let's just continue this trend. I did buy an entire series. If you guys don't know, Andrew's Wizardly Reads, if you follow his Pango, he's getting rid of a lot of his books because he's moving, and so the Pango store is full of a lot of books that he's getting rid of. And he had this series. I have read A Plague of Giants by Kevin Hearn and A Blight of Black Wings by Kevin Hearn. And he had the third book, A Curse of Krakens. So I really, really love this series. I loved how different the first book was, and I've never owned these because these covers are hard to find, and I don't know how Andrew got his hands on them, but when I saw that he had these, I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy them. But yeah, I really love this first one. I really enjoyed the second one, not quite as much as the first one, but I want to reread the first two and then get to the third one, because it's been a long while since I read A Plague of Giants. So I will need some refresher. And I read A Blight of Black Wings when I was going through a really horrible reading slump. And so not that I've blocked it out of my brain, but I don't remember much of it. So yeah, definitely excited to revisit this series, start it over. And I already know that I love the first two books, so I'm just hoping to love the third. And this is me buying an entire series. I have read 2 of the 3 books. Okay, and speaking of Andrew, he's had a book on his shelves that I've been eyeing for a really long time. He put it up on Pango a while ago. At the time, I didn't have the finances to pick it up. However, he lowered the prices on his shop, like I said, for moving purposes. And I finally got the Immortality Thief by Taryn Hunt. Now this is the Goldsboro Special Edition. It is the one that is signed and numbered. And it has the Mylar wrap on it. I'm very, very excited. I've heard from everybody who's read this that I know that I will enjoy this. Obviously, there's thief in the title. Far off the edge of human existence, beside a dying star, lies a nameless ship, abandoned and hidden, lost for a millennium. But there are secrets there, terrible secrets that would change the fate of humanity, and eventually someone will come looking. And what I know of this is that this group of people is going to scavenge this ship that should be prisoners, but they chose to take on this suicide mission, so to speak, instead of being imprisoned, and they're collecting data. However, no one really is sure what's going to happen on board this ship. No one's sure what they're going to find. And I think it sounds really, really good. And then on a recommendation from one of my patrons, Izzy, she has told me time and time again that I will love Darkwater Daughter by H.M. Long. I finally got my hands on a copy of it, and I'm so excited to get into this. I am very eager to pick this up soon because I know the second book just released or is about to release. I only know this because I got an email for the second book, The Ark. And I didn't accept it because I hadn't read this one yet. And I'm already working on one series where I haven't read the second book. I'm reading the second book currently and then accepting the arc for the third. I love that series though, so I can't feel too bad about it. But yeah, I've heard from multiple people, not just Izzy, that I will really like this one. And I've liked H.M. Long in the past. Mary Firth is a storm singer, a woman whose voice can still hurricanes and shatter armadas. Faced with servitude to a pirate lord, Sylvanus Lear, Mary offers her skills to his arch-rival in exchange for protection and helping send Lear to a watery grave. But her new ally has a vendetta of his own, and Mary's dreams are dark and full of gistings, spectral creatures who inhabit the ancient forests of her homeland and the figureheads of ships. Samuel Rosser is a disgraced naval officer serving aboard Hart, an infamous privateer commissioned to bring Lear to justice. He will stop at nothing to capture Lear, restoring his good name and reclaim the only thing that stands between himself and madness, a talisman stolen by Mary. Finally driven into the eternal ice at the limits of their world, Mary and Samuel must choose their loyalties and battle forces older and more powerful than the pirates who would make them slaves. It sounds really, really good. Like, really good. And Hall of Smoke is the other one that I have read from her. But yeah, I'm very excited to get into this, and I'm very excited to see where this series goes, because I've had like inklings of what's going to happen with this series because, you know, everybody I know has read it already. Then I purchased a special edition, a second book to a series that I have really, really loved, The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. I've talked about it a lot. So I couldn't pass up The Undermining of Twilight and Frank by Megan Bannon. My copy, the dust jacket, came a little wonky. There's dents here. This has kind of been damaged here. I'm just going to need to set like a really heavy book on top of it, I think, and it should all come out. But I'm very excited to have this book because I loved The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. And look at this. Aren't these cute? I'm like, okay, we're going to be in a mine. I'm pretty sure of that. Yeah, it says danger mining in progress right there. Equal parts cozy and spicy, this is a delightful friends to lovers fantasy rom-com that's When Harry Met Sally with dragons. So yeah, very, very interested in getting to this. Now, friends to lovers is not my favorite trope. Part of that is you can't convince me why you're not already lovers. Like, you can't give me a good reason. I've never found one where I'm like, if you were that into each other before the setting of this book, how come you're not together? Like, you can't convince me of it. Enemies to lovers, I have a easier time believing. Friends to lovers, not so much. And then book of the month. I wasn't a huge fan of the selections yet again. And this is happening more often lately. I don't think they are looking too hard for sci-fi or fantasy releases to put out. And I'm not the biggest historical fiction reader anymore, but I did find my way around how to get the book that I wanted. If you guys watched my wrap up, you will know that The Women by Kristen Hanna was so amazing. One of my favorite books of the year, like bar none. And so I needed to get The Great Alone. I had to. This is one of the only historical fictions I have yet to read from Kristen Hanna, and I've heard great things about it. I've read The Nightingale, I've read The Four Winds, I've read The Women. There's quite a few of hers that I have read, but this is the standout that everyone talks about that I have not read yet. So I wanted this book, which means I had to pick a book of the month selection. And I skirted around that by picking a book of the month favorite and not the monthly selection choices that I had. And so I got How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong. And I picked this up because I've heard a couple of booktubers talk about it, saying that they really enjoyed the story. And I'm not the biggest romance fan. I do love Ali Hazelwood, Abby Jimenez, and I haven't ventured very far outside those two authors. Like I'm just kind of, no, I don't like contemporary romance. So aside from those two, I've read, I think it's Talia Hibbert. Those books were okay. They weren't my favorite, but I've heard good things about this. And since this was one of the books that came up as an option for, if you don't like the choices that Book of the Month has this month, you could pick this. I was like, okay. I did pick up an Emily Henry recently. So I am trying to venture outside of Ali Hazelwood and Abby Jimenez. But that one's stretching my comfort zone a bit because it's an author that I've only heard a few booktubers talk about. And a book I've only heard a few booktubers talk about. And so I'm like a little anxious about that one. You guys have seen my July fairy loot. I showed that off in my last book haul. August is not here yet, so I will probably show that off in a vlog since I'm vlogging again. When I get it, and it is Long Live Evil. I'm very excited about it because I do have an art for it, so I'll probably read it even before it gets here. But yeah, that's all I've got for you today. I do have a Patreon if you would like to support what I do here on this channel, and I have Discord, Twitter. I'm not on Twitter very much anymore, just because the discourse is not for me. But all of my links are in a Linktree link down below if you'd like to connect with me in any other way. Have a great day.